My name is Bernice. I'm sitting on a plane, looking out at the shrinking city below. The wedding that was supposed to be the highlight of my family's year is in chaos, and I'm the one who set it in motion. But it wasn't an act of malice, it was a long overdue awakening. Let me take you back to the beginning. I come from a middle-class family in Boston. My father, Henry, is a hard-working but somewhat aloof man. He's always been more focused on his business and my younger sister, Lily. My mother, Carol, is a kind-hearted woman, but she often defers to my father's decisions. Lily, 25, is the apple of my parents' eyes. She's charming, outgoing, and has always gotten whatever she wanted. It was my 35th birthday. My father had called me a few days before, sounding unusually excited. He told me to dress nicely and meet him at a fancy rooftop restaurant in downtown Boston at 7:30 sharp. I was thrilled. For once, I thought I was going to have a special birthday with my family. I arrived at the restaurant right on time. The hostess greeted me with a polite smile and led me to a table for four overlooking the Charles River. The city lights were twinkling, and the table was beautifully set with fine china and silverware. I sat down, placed my phone on the table, and waited. As minutes turned into hours, my hope started to fade. I checked my phone constantly, but there were no messages or calls. The staff began to give me those pitying looks, the kind you give someone who's been stood up. After 40 minutes, I stepped outside to call my family. Every call went straight to voicemail. A strange feeling crept over me. I started to realize that this wasn't just a case of being late. Something was very wrong. When I finally managed to reach my father, he sounded rushed and distracted. He said that Lily had had a breakdown at work and they had to take her somewhere quiet to calm down. He apologized and said we'd celebrate another time. I told him I understood, but deep down, I knew something didn't add up. The background noise on the call sounded like a busy party, not a quiet place to soothe a distressed person. A few days later, I was scrolling through social media when I saw a post from one of Lily's friends, Tom. The photo showed a group of people at a rooftop terrace, raising champagne glasses. In the center was Lily, beaming, with a diamond ring on her finger. Next to her was her boyfriend, Ethan. And there, in the corner, were my parents, looking happy and proud. The terrace in the photo was the exact same one where I had waited for my birthday dinner. The details were unmistakable, the same angle of the buildings, the same row of lights along the railing. I zoomed in on the photo. Lily's dress was elegant, and Ethan was wearing a well-tailored suit. The table was decorated with candles and menus, clearly a planned event. I started to dig deeper. I looked through all of Tom's posts from that night. There were more photos and videos of the celebration. It was obvious that this was a pre-planned engagement party. I also noticed that some of Lily's friends who lived out of town were there, which meant they had to be invited in advance. I decided to call my father's aunt, Margaret. She's the family gossip and knows everything that goes on. I asked her about Lily's engagement. She was overjoyed and started telling me all about how they had been planning the party for weeks. She mentioned how hard it was to get a reservation at that popular rooftop restaurant. It all became clear. My family had known about the engagement party for a long time and had deliberately left me out on my birthday. They had chosen Lily's celebration over mine. In the months that followed, life went on as usual. We still had family dinners, but the atmosphere was different. Conversations were polite but superficial. No one ever mentioned the rooftop restaurant or the engagement party. Then, a few months later, Lily and Ethan announced their wedding plans. My father came to me during a family dinner and said that hiring a professional wedding planner would be too expensive. He said that my experience in project management made me the perfect person to handle the wedding. I agreed. I saw it as a chance to show my family that I was reliable and capable. I created a detailed digital system to manage all aspects of the wedding: contracts, vendor contacts, payment schedules, and guest lists. As the wedding approached, the system became the backbone of the entire event. Every vendor communicated with me, and I made sure everything was running smoothly. My father was impressed with my organization, and Lily told her friends that having me in charge made the planning much less stressful. But as I sat in my hotel room on the morning of the wedding, looking at the laptop with the entire planning system on the screen, I had a moment of clarity. I realized that I had been taken for granted. I had sacrificed my time and energy for a family that had never truly appreciated me. So, I started making changes. I removed all the vendor contact lists, reservation confirmations, and payment records. I canceled all the scheduled emails and removed shared access permissions. In less than half an hour, the system that had been the heart of the wedding planning was gone. I packed my bag, walked past the guests in the hotel lobby, and took a taxi to the airport. As the city faded behind me, I knew that I was leaving behind a family that had made me feel invisible for far too long. For most of my life, I believed that being the responsible one, the one who always showed up, would earn me respect and love. But I've learned that sometimes, the only way to be seen is to step away. Leaving wasn't an act of anger, it was an act of self-respect. And in the end, I hope that my family will realize the value of the person they've overlooked.